Hello there YouTube, Devin here again, and today I have a cool sort of canteen video here for you. This one's really cool historically and pretty awesome, and you could still find these relatively easily, or if not, you can put one together relatively easily. And that would be the fact that a lot of countries had to make creative solutions for stuff, and this is one of those creative solutions, and this happens to be Canadian. And what this is here is this is a thermos. This is a military thermos carrier and thermos. It is the I believe this is the 64 pattern one because it's canvas still. It's not nylon like the 82 one. There was really 3 iterations of these canvas carriers. There was the 51 pattern, or sometimes called the 52 pattern, thermos carrier, which was a little bit different in design. And then there was the pattern 64 and the pattern 82 thermos carriers. And the only thing that changed between the 64 and the 82 was canvas. It went from cotton canvas to nylon, everything, rather than being cotton canvas. It still had the same plastic hardware and everything. Basically, just the materials changed as to what it was made out of. But the thermos for all 3 iterations stayed the same. And they actually still make this thermos today. It really hasn't changed in 80 years. But I would love to get a 51 or 52 pattern thermos carrier to complete my pattern 51 gear set. But I only have this one for now, and I could always just make a pattern 51 thermos carrier. They weren't that hard to make because it was essentially just a canvas pouch. But if I don't have to make one, I'd love to be able to find an original one. But what we have here is a thermos pouch. Now what it is basically just a big tube, round bottom, has a shoulder strap on it, and another strap right here, a utility strap around the back to hook it to stuff. Equipment, and it opens at the top via this little split, and on the inside is something a lot of you might have noticed that your father had or your grandfather, and that is a Stanley Aladdin pattern vacuum thermos. This one, as you can see, was made in 82, and it is a vacuum bottle, and then it says it in French down there. Because this one was made in Canada. And here it is, the Aladdin logo registered. The only difference between this and a regular Stanley Aladdin thermos is the fact that this one doesn't have a handle, so it fits in the pouch easier. But you can still fit one. I have a Stanley Aladdin thermos. You could still fit one with the handle inside this pouch. And this came about due to a necessary need for it, actually. Now, a lot of you picture a thermos as something that keeps liquids and like soups and stuff like that hot. But it also doubles for the fact that it is very good at keeping stuff from freezing. Because Canada, as most people know it, as an Arctic wasteland, Arctic wasteland. Where I'm from, maybe it is an Arctic wasteland, but it could easily be considered an Arctic wasteland. But the most of Canada actually does has 4 seasons, for you guys that don't know. But before they had any way to, keep water for troops, basically you would just have to have your canteen freeze overnight during cold and winter operations. And so this was a good solution to keep that from happening. You could fill this with water, and it holds over a liter of water, and it's very good at keeping it from freezing. It has to get very, very cold, and even then you have to leave this outside for a very long time, like 10 plus hours, for this to freeze, at least freeze solid. So this was a way to give troops who were out in operations in the cold a way to stay hydrated without having the need to always be having a fire and always be melting, your water, so you could drink it. And this was a good way to keep that from happening, because you could put room temperature water, like 70 degree Fahrenheit water, in this and leave it outside at negative 50 degrees, and it would take 10 hours to freeze. So you have a long window to drink this before it becomes a problem. This was only officially replaced in the 90s by this, and this is essentially the same exact thing as the Stanley Thermos, but just in a 1910 canteen shape. Now this one, it's hard to see the date on it, but it was made November 18th, 2010. This canteen was made. It's kind of real hard to see, but that says 2010 right there. So this is something that has been around for a while now, but this trucked along for almost, 50 years in Canadian service until these canteens came out. So, and these are still pretty readily available, and if you could find them. The pouches are a lot harder to find than the thermoses themselves, because the thermoses are still made. But they're very cool to have, and I'm very glad to have one of these, and they work pretty much just as well. These two items work pretty much exactly the same. I've tested them before by just throwing them in the freezer, and neither of them basically after a day had any ice in them. The water got slightly colder, but other than that, they didn't have any ice in them. And I set my freezer for the coldest setting it could go, and these were the only things in there other than the ice trays. So, but they worked out quite well, and it's an innovative solution. This would be something that I would still use, honestly, if I didn't have like 50 of these. I have probably not 50, but probably a dozen of these canteens. And but this would be something I'd like to give a try here come this winter, carrying out one of these thermoses. And I'm really glad to get one of these, especially one that has the actual French on it too, because most of them you find will just have the English on them. But this one's one of the Canadian contract ones, and I'm really, really glad to have this. And hopefully you guys enjoyed this video and you like this sort of thing, because I'm really like this, and it's a good solution if you can't get one of these canteens, because these canteens are pretty rare, but they still make the Stanley Aladdin Thermos. And so if you live in a cold environment or plan on traveling to somewhere cold, this would be a good solution for you. So, and it's just a neat piece of history. I like stopgap measures as far as filling and making things go. When the military takes something off the shelf from the civilian market and just uses it, I love stories like that and items like that. And this is one of those. So hopefully you enjoyed this video and you subscribe if you like this sort of thing. Videos haven't been coming because I've been real busy. Like those of you who've been following the channel for a few years, I work retail, and this is just a shitty time of year to be in retail. So thank you for bearing with me on that. We're up near 1,000 subscribers. I never thought I'd get this far, but thank you all for those of you who subscribe. Thank you to all of you who share my videos. Thank you to all that keep your comments on task with the video, on subject with the video, instead of just randomly posting stuff. I appreciate that very much, because I'm going to stop answering comments that aren't on task, on point to the video. So please stop doing that if you want your questions answered. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.